Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I am going to do a year-end review in Composer, which ironically is almost the same as last year. Last year I was at 33%, and I'm essentially at 33% this year, 32.79. When you round that up, we are at 33%. Quite happy with that. That's provided alpha over the indexes both years. So yeah, can't complain at all. Having said that, everyone's a genius in a bull market, as the saying goes. So it'll be fascinating to see in a year when the market pulls back how my symphonies and how my accounts do overall. But yeah, so 290 is the cost basis, 385 is the ending year, so almost $100,000 in gains, 95,000, not bad at all. And I believe that one of my secrets, if you want to use that term, or one of my competitive advantages and why I've done well in my investing, specifically with Composer, relates to a Jack Bogle quotation, the founder of Vanguard: don't do something, just stand there. And it's been my ability to just stand there, which you might think takes no skill, no talent, but it's really a temperament thing. I'm not tweaking, I'm not symphony jumping, I'm not doing things where I'm panicking and throwing up my hands and saying this strategy doesn't work and on to the next one. So I wanted to kind of just take you through the year here to illustrate what I mean by that. So again, 290 is the cost basis. So you see here we are 310, 327. So March we're at 327, right? April, a month later, 276. 327 minus 276, $51,000 in 1 month in the beginning of the year. So let's say you started with Composer or running symphonies. Many people with the wrong temperament would essentially say, oh my God, why did I do this? I just set $50,000 on fire, which is a year's salary or half a year's salary. Or at that point in April, they would have really dove into the logic to their symphonies and said to themselves and justified, oh, this logic doesn't work, so I'm removing it, or I'm changing the parameters. I'm moving the RSI from 77. I'm moving the RSI to 83, so it fires less. Whatever their justification is, so they're going to make changes. And what I do and what I've done and why I believe I've had tremendous success is sitting on my hands, just standing there. So lo and behold, we go from 276. We're back to 317 in May. And look here. So we're climbing. 366, a little dip. Kind of moving. And this is instructive here again. So again, now we're in July, about halfway through the year. We're at 372. So just think, 372 minus 276. So now I've gone up $96,000 from April until July, right? So if I had tweaked or sold out in April, I would have missed this. Now, having said that, you can see that 372 is going all the way to 315. So you take 372 minus 315, say 57, 60,000 again. So another thing to consider is if you can't handle these larger swings, then you shouldn't be running leverage ETF symphonies. For me, my Composer account is really trading systems surrounding leverage ETFs. So funds like TQQQ, UPRO, UDAO, SOXL, LABU, so on and so forth. And a lot of these funds are by ProShares. There's the other company, I can't recall the name of it right now, that runs the SPXL and TECL, but a lot of them, the ones I run are with ProShares. And again, so if you aren't able to handle this kind of volatility, then you should be running symphonies with tickers like SPY and QQQ, DIA, the traditional funds. One of the things that I feel is, for me, I have about $1 million that outside of these accounts and just vanilla index funds, which allows me to run this. It's 290 now; it's almost 400, but this amount of money in these leverage ETF symphonies, because I have such a strong anchor elsewhere. If I didn't have the anchor elsewhere, I don't know if I'd run um, all of these symphonies using leverage ETFs. Um, but I do have that anchor, so enables me to be a little bit more aggressive here. So yeah, so then again, you can see July, after the bottom here, 315, July 25th, we're on the move again in a positive direction. 370, and then boom, down to 324 throughout the year. Yeah, I got a nice little peak there, so I want to hit. And then again, a big sell-off here. Let me slide this over. So this is around November, 376, still great. And then we get the peak. You got 412 here. Let's see here. This was the peak, December 11th, it looks like. And what's interesting about that is many people at this period or around this period start to liquidate for wash sales, which is a whole nother topic. I'm designated trader tax status. Eventually, I'm going to run an LLC, because Composer, I think, just released that. It's in beta, so that'll be a long-term goal. I'll create an LLC just for Composer trading strategies. But had I liquidated December 11th, beginning of December, I would have been like 41, 42%. And I remember thinking in the beginning of December, I was at 41, 42%. And I thought to myself, wow, maybe I can hit 50% this year. That would be excellent. But lo and behold, the sort of Trump rally, election rally, from November started to fade. And from December 11th, see, it went down here, 386. Then it started to climb up towards the end. I thought, oh, great. We're even, it was a 403. So, if I had a big final week, I could have been back that 41% perhaps, but no, sold off 387. And then even the last day sold off to 385. But, having said that, tremendous results in Composer, both last year and this year. So yeah, no complaints at all. I mean, and maybe we'll jump over here real quick and then come right back. I just do this as to have fun with math here. But it just goes to show you the power of compounding, the power of compound interest. That if I run the 385, which is the value in Composer, and I do compound at 33%. That's not to say that that's going to happen. It's unlikely to happen, to be honest. But it's just, to have fun with it. What would happen? 20 years at 33% is 115 million. At 30%, it's 73 million. At 36%, it's 180 million. So you could see the power of just 1, 2, 3 percentage points difference, over a long period of time, which again, it always goes back to prove Bogle's point about negative compounding, about high fees and 401ks and, actively managed funds versus zero cost or very low cost index funds, because again, 1, 2, 3 percentage points, makes a difference. So if you're paying a percentage point every year, the negative compounding of that is tremendous. So we'll see if I get to 115 million. But just wanted to share that. So let's come back here now. And I wanted to showcase, so the Wishcaster one is a private one, but this one is a very popular one. It's a fusion of Manhattan Project and Beta Ballers. And this is what I call a third generation Discord strategy, highly complex. So you see, did over 100%. So if I had put, my entire capital in there, I would have compounded tremendously. And that's a whole nother thing in composer. There's many people who believe in concentration. They'll run a few symphonies. And just like with equities, that same argument is carried over into composer. So, for example, there's the famous investing saying the only free lunch in investing is diversification. Ray Dalio, one of the biggest hedge fund managers, truly believes in diversification. But contrast that with Warren and Charlie, who believe that diversification is fine for people who don't know what they're doing, or the sort of play on the word diversification, right? And so again, there's that same thought process in composer. I like to run. I'm on 119 symphonies, which many would assert is way too many. But I've done quite well. But had I listened to them and said, oh, I'm going to choose one or two or three, and be a little more concentrated, you can see if you're making the right choice, what can happen here. So just to give you a sense of the complexity of this, and again, it's what I call a third generation symphony. First generation is essentially just a laundry list symphony, rebalancing symphony, hedge fundies, excellent adventure. You like that 55-45 breakdown. Second generation would be like the strength catcher I'm going to show next, which is just a few lines of logic, if this, then that. And then a third generation symphony is really long and complicated. So I'm going to start scrolling here just to give you a sense of how long. Still scrolling, only halfway down. Still scrolling. So anyways, you get the point here. So it's really complicated, really involved. But that compounded over 100% this year. So tremendous results. And then let's take a look at this next one. Was created by Garen. Oh, I missed it here. It's the R. There it is. This one was created by Garen Phillips, one of the earliest composer users. Also has a YouTube channel, Algos with Garen. He hasn't been as involved in that channel and with composer in let's say 2024, but in, I want to say maybe 2021, 2022, 2023. He did a lot of videos, very much created a ton of symphony. This is one of his earliest ones. I think it was first videos. And you can see here, the Manhattan Project beta baller fusion was 106. This is 181%. It did cross 214%, 200% in December 17th. So 1,000 here at that point was 3,000. So 3x. So let's just say hypothetically, I had put all of my 290,000 in this. That account would have crossed to 870,000 December 16th. So 3x the cost basis. But if you look at it here, expand here, pretty basic stuff here. A couple lines of logic, and that's the whole symphony. Notice I'm not scrolling. Here 100-day exponential moving average of DBC is greater than 400-day. So that if DBC is trending, you're in a commodity cycle. That's sort of what he's saying here. But again, tremendous results this year. Probably my best performer, or one of my best performers. So kudos to Garen on this. And again, I collect symphonies like other people collect stamps and baseball cards and coins. So I run things that were created many years ago when Composer was first created. Then I run things that are fairly new. So if you scroll out, and let's go there, and then scroll. So you have Wishcasters, just scrolling through this one here, TQQQ, long-term Reddit also is one that's very popular in the Discord. There's certain people that believe that this is the best strategy created on the composer community, and this one for me did 69%. I ran it back, and now because again I did it January 17th, so I just simulated it for the video, and it did 79% simulated if you did it from January 1st. So if I had just said, I believe that this is the best one, I'm going to run this instead of a 33% return, I would have had a 69% return. But again, I believe also, and this is one of the things I believe, and one of the reasons I do it, is when we're having years that you're down 30%, I'm going to have a lot less single ticker exposure and a lot less drawdowns than many who are running concentrated portfolios. That's just my belief and my thesis. I could certainly be wrong in that. So essentially what I'm saying is I might underperform in massive bull markets like the last 2 years compared to them. I'll still get alpha over the S&P, which I did both years, but I won't get 70, 80, 90%. I might get 30, 40%. But let's say the market is down, 30% in a year. That certain people might be down 50, 60%, and maybe I'll be down 20, 15, even getting towards that 30, I'll almost match the market. But we'll see. Again, these are just theories, and these haven't been borne out in like a 1973, 74 extended bear market. Just my own personal feelings right now and opinions. So you can see different symphonies, some of the beta ballers and T triple Q or not. This is one also that's interesting. This is Jaewong Jung. He was one. This is from the Slack channel, and he's one of the earliest composer users. And again, nothing to be ashamed of here. 18.92%. It did outperform S&P, but anyone that compounds, at that rate, certainly a nice rate of return. So quite good there. And so again, just wanted to kind of share that, my results with Composer. I'm one of the first, I think one of the first 10 users of the software. I've been sticking with it, and I've really been able to multiply my money with Composer. And so I'll just finish out a little bit of the Schwab account briefly, and then we'll call it a video. And you're in 17 minutes here. So the Schwab account did 20 year to date. So it did 23.44%, slightly underperforming SPY, and the NASDAQ outperforming the Dow Jones, but almost matching the S&P, neck and neck there. You can see the opening value is 525. Ending is 648. So if I did 95,000 in Composer approximately, and let's do 123, 178. So I did 218,178 in gains this year. So over 200,000. So an amazing year for me. In these two brokerage accounts, and so we can see here. One of the things that I'm doing is I made a couple changes to the Schwab account here. I'm holding a bit more Bitcoin in ETFs, and I've taken off my drip to that reinvest in stocks and the particular holding, and I let it go into cash. And what I do with that cash is I buy Bitcoin ETFs. So that is my strategy there. So you can see, like, let's say 2024. So this month here, 48.24 in dividends. So instead of, like, let's say Blackstone gives me a dividend. With the drip, normally you would buy more Blackstone stock. But with this, that 48.25 is going to go into iBit or Bitto or BitX or BTCI or Maxi, Ybit, YBTC. These are sort of income Bitcoin plays. And that's my plan for, I think, at least the first half of 2025. It has the projected here. So you can see, like, January is a lighter month, about 2,200. But you can see February, and it looks like February, March, some nice dividends. And so all these dividends will be dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. So that's kind of my strategy here. But overall, if you go to summary, this is a little off because I did a tender offer. It's not 39%. I wish it were. It's a 23, but about 647 here. So you take, let's say, 647 plus 385, so 1,032,000. Nothing to complain about there. And yeah, so we'll see how this account, we'll see, what 2025 brings for Bitcoin. Many people think 200,000, 250. We'll see on that. But one of the things, again, I'm doing is I'm dollar cost averaging. But that is it for today. Went over 20 minutes because I want to be very thorough here on the year-end review video. So I appreciate you tuning in. Please subscribe, like. Any questions, comments, feel free to write in. That's it for now, and hope you have a wonderful, successful, prosperous 2025. Take care. Ciao.